Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at a custom action figure. This is a custom 1989 Michael Keaton Batman done in the McFarlane style by my boy PopCultureArt. I know PopCultureArt used to make me a ton of custom action figures, but that sort of died off. So there's an interesting story how I got this custom. So a few months ago, I got the 1989 Batman and Batmobile Michael Keaton 2-pack. It's Amazon exclusive. I felt pretty fortunate to get it as it sold out super quick. But when I got that figure, I reviewed it. And the figure is good, but it's not quite great. My biggest issues with the figure were the area around the cowl. The head is separate from the neck, and it goes in, kind of reminds me of the Dark Knight cowl. And then his sort of ab area was sort of broken up. Really, the neck was the biggest complaint to me. I have the old Neca one, and that is a fantastic figure. Michael Keaton is a very important Batman to me. I was 5 years old when that came out, saw it in theaters. Very impactful to me. And the figure, I love the Neca one. It's so good, so well detailed. And I see a lot of people shit on it on the internet, but it is my favorite. So in that video, I expressed some of my displeasure with a couple of the details on the McFarlane one, and how I personally thought the Neca one was superior, even though the articulation is quite inferior. And then PopCultureArt messaged me. We used to do deals. I used to get customs off him, but we haven't really chatted too much in a while. And he said, "Hey, watch your video on the 1989 McFarlane Batman. I think I can do what you talked about in there, make a hybrid of the Neca and the McFarlane version and address a lot of the issues." And he said, "Would you be interested if I sent one your way?" And honestly, I thought it was full of shit. People message me all the time and say they're going to send me a figure or this, that, and the other. And it never actually happens. So I was like, hell yeah, of course I'm interested. And I really am. It's a pretty cool thing. And I'll be damned, here it is. And PopCultureArt, I imagine you'll be watching this video. I don't mean anything negative by that. But it seemed too good to be true. And bam, here it is. So this figure here, if I'm not mistaken, is done with the McFarlane body and the Michael Keaton head. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. And we'll dig in deep to it in this video. In the meantime, I've got a big, beefy Michael Keaton Batman with a Neca head, McFarlane articulation, and an amazing cape. So let's take a look. Start with his face here. Now, this is going to be the head and cowl from the Michael Keaton Batman. At least I believe it is, and we'll check that out in the video. It looks to be repainted. The flesh color is definitely a little bit different. But the neck and the cowl is one solid piece, as it should be. He could not turn his head in the film. That's part of the charm of him. Don't get me wrong, I want all the articulation I can get, but I personally think that was a bad decision on McFarlane's part. As we go further down, he does have the bat symbol, and it's not quite the 89 version. Maybe this is more of the return suit. The cape itself is phenomenal. This thing is giant. It's got a wire going all the way through it. You can pose it any way you would like, and man, it is long, it is flowing, it's all on the ground below him. Definitely bigger in the film, but man, is that badass. If I've ever seen a badass cape on a Batman figure, that is excellent. I love it. You can stretch it out so freaking far. You can definitely get that Michael Keaton sort of gliding pose. Now, upon first glance, I thought it was just the McFarlane body, but actually looking at it, I think it might be the Three Jokers torso. Might comment the hands seem a little bit small. The fins are definitely a little bit small on this guy. It's sort of a hybrid version. I don't know, it's really cool. It has a Keaton belt. I believe these are the Keaton legs. It has the big sort of shins, and I really like that. But I do notice the signature 89 Keaton abs are missing. So me personally, think this might be my Returns Batman, and that one might be my 89 Batman. I'm definitely not going to be using it for the Batman Returns Batman, but a little bit more articulated, bigger, beefier, giant cape version of the Michael Keaton Batman. I think it's awesome. In addition to all that, he comes with some accessories. 2 alternate hands, one of which has a grapnel launcher attached. And here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts. A custom figure with swappable hands, hell yeah. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Definitely repainted, it looks excellent. You can see the Neca sort of sculpting in the brow. Their sculpt was always fantastic on this Batman figure. The head maybe a tad too big, but perfect on the McFarlane body. The paint job on the skin is pretty good. I can definitely see the sculpting details. Screams Michael Keaton in the mouth and the jaw area. Lips a little bit different shade than the skin. Now let's check out the accessories. We have a total of 4 hands, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. One of his right hands has a gravity launcher permanently attached. This is taken from the Batman, Robert Pattinson version of Batman. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here's his other pair of hands. His right hand has a gravity launcher attached, and his left hand is a small gripping hand. Could hold a batarang. Here's Batman holding and getting ready to use his grapple. Now for his cape. It is giant, and I love Batman with the giant cape. Maybe a little bit too big for Michael Keaton, but honestly, the way it looks, fantastic. I like the material. Kind of like a jacket. It's not exactly leathery. It's very flexible, very big. It's got the wire on the 2 sides, which is very helpful for posing, especially something this big. It has 2 more wires down the middle. It's going to really allow you to do something like this, and it's really going to sort of hold the shape. You can get Michael Keaton in that signature sort of pose. You know what I'm talking about. He did that in '89 a couple different times. Very dramatic, very sort of slow, very exaggerated. Michael motherfucking Keaton. Look at that. And it even gets bigger. Absolutely fantastic. The wire really allows it to work properly. You got the arm supporting it. Then use the wire. I mean, you can have it sticking upward. You can do pretty much whatever you want. It is awesome. And a correction. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wires. Is that right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 6 wires in this thing. Absolutely fantastic. That is amazing. Can do some really cool stuff with this. Apparently I'm just too dumb to count properly, but there are 7 bendy wires in this cape. And guess what? It drapes down on its sides perfect. Way better than the Mezco or SH Figure Arts versions. Now let's check out his height, and he's a big boy. This is kind of how I imagine the Beast Kingdom one is, but the Beast Kingdom one is probably considerably bigger than this. From bottom to the very top of his head, staying at about 7.5 inches tall, and if you go to the top of the ears, about 7.8 inches tall. Now for his articulation. Now whenever you have a custom figure that's custom painted or extra sculpt, you want to be very careful. A lot of time the articulation doesn't work or is not worth using because it may chip the paint or break the sculpt. But I can definitely tell what I'm working with here. We'll start with the head here. I believe it to be the Neca cowl, and it does have some articulation. He did set it up so you can rotate it against the ball joint. Not a lot, but it can be done, and that's pretty cool. So you get kind of best of both worlds. You can turn at least a little bit, but the head and the cowl look to be one solid piece and have that 1989 Michael Keaton Batman signature look. Shoulders, ball joint, up, down, around, double jointed elbows, it all still functions. The wrist can rotate, hinged a tiny bit. He's got the McFarlane double jointed torso. Now this definitely looks like the Three Jokers Batman torso. And then Michael Keaton's diaper. There's a little bit of a gap there, but it's not bad. Legs, complete as a splits. McFarlane hip joints. You see that kind of the stress is popping the head off a little bit. Still does the splits. Rotation, kind of decent, medium. For about that far. Double jointed knees. Everything functions and none of the paint chips off even slightly. Very well done. Very nice paint job. Very smooth. Ankles, typical McFarlane stuff. Forward and back tiny bit. Rotate, etc. Even the toe articulation. Here's a look at this Keaton Batman on top of a rooftop overlooking the Gotham City streets. And here he is, getting ready to glide down and stop some crime. And if I want him to glide around the city, he sure can. Look at that. That is absolutely fantastic. Really digging this cape. Now I wanted to see if I could identify all the parts used to make this figure. We'll start off with the cowl, which is from the NECA 1989 Michael Keaton Batman figure. 7-inch scale, but man, there's a big difference here. A lot of people complain the head looks far too big on this guy, and right now it sure does, but by himself it never really bothered me until recently. So It is the same cowl. I can see some of the sculpting, sort of clavicle area here on the brow, but he has a different bat symbol. Put the more traditional bat symbol without the extra points. Paint completely redone. Not sure which one I like better. I'm a big fan of the original Neca figure. I don't think he had to repaint it, but he didn't do a bad job. I just really think the original is very nice. Now, one of the coolest things, like I said before, is he made it so it has a little bit of articulation, but it's underneath. You don't see it. He can just turn his head just a tiny bit, and that's how Neca did it the old time. Rotate side to side. Now, everyone kept dropping me messages in that video saying, oh, I wonder how the Neca cowl would be on the McFarlane figure, etc., etc., etc. But I was not willing to ruin my Neca figure. I love this figure. I think it's awesome. I like the way it looks, and it has a special place in my heart. You can't really replace it very easily without getting a bootleg, and I didn't want to destroy it and just to sort of mess around and probably not even be successful at getting on the McFarlane figure. So thank you, Pop Culture, for doing it for me and doing it better than I would have done, and doing it different than I would have done, that's for sure. And upon first glance, I simply thought the body was done with the 1989 Michael Keaton McFarlane figure, but it's not. It's a lot bigger. Once I saw the torso up close, I realized, oh, this is definitely the Three Jokers Batman. It has that signature torso, I can tell by the wrinkles on the bottom part. And the top part, I can see some stuff was smoothed out. Very, very well done, the sculpting on top of here. Now, his belt, it's got to be off the Neca figure, I'd imagine. We'll check that out in just a sec. The diaper piece is his, with an altered belt. Does leave a tiny bit of gap up top, but not bad. Look at the arms, looks like they're the same. But, I mean, the fins here, way too small. It's one sort of minor, I guess, nitpick I'd have. Beyond that, looks fantastic. And the fins are a little bit better on this side here. Also just a tiny bit small. I noticed even the shin area is done with the Three Jokers Batman. Honestly, at first glance, I thought it was Michael Keaton version, but it's not. They are very similar. And actually, looking at the belt, it's not from the Neca figure. Definitely different. I'm not sure where he got that belt from, but it looks fantastic. Looks spot on to Michael Keaton's. And like I said, at first glance, I simply thought it was the McFarlane Michael Keaton body with the Neca head on top, but it's much more complex. This is a very expensive figure to get because you can only get them from the Amazon exclusive Batman Batmobile pack or the Batman Movie 6 pack. I'm sure eventually he's going to get his own release. The only thing missing on this figure is sort of the signature abs. You can see how they look on the McFarlane figure. Like I said, signature to the Keaton. The entire sort of muscle here made of bulletproof armor. Just a tiny bit bland here. Still as a whole, look at this guy. Big, intimidating Keaton Batman. This guy is gonna fuck you up. Now let's check him out. Next to some other Michael Keaton Batman figures. Here's the McFarlane 1999 Michael Keaton Batman, the Amazon exclusive on the left, and the Batman Movie 6 pack on the right. My biggest complaint about this guy was how his head and his neck were not one solid piece, and it sort of goes inside there, gets way too thin. Kind of makes me think of Val Kilmer or Christian Bale, just the way the cowl is shaped. It doesn't scream Keaton. McFarlane also made a couple of Michael Keaton Batman figures from the Flash film. An older version, one with a mask on, one with a mask off. And I did buy an extra unmasked Michael Keaton Batman, so I could make an older Michael Keaton in civilian attire. And here he is, next to Neca's 89 Michael Keaton Batman. 7-inch scale, but quite a bit smaller. That McFarlane Three Jokers Batman is way too big. Well, maybe not way too big, but he's definitely too big. I love this Neca Michael Keaton Batman. It is my favorite of all the official releases. I like it better than McFarlane's, Mezco's, SH Figure Arts. Neca actually made 3 different versions. We have the Nintendo version on the left, then the regular version, and then the Kenner Homage Tech Shield Batman on the right. Then, next to the Mezco 112 Collective Keaton Batman. This figure is expensive, and it was really long and drawn out, and I'm not a fan for a lot of reasons. The cape is extremely frustrating, it sucks, it will not do what it wanted to do. His head doesn't sit down quite as far as I'd like. I think mine broke in the bicep area. Articulation is kind of rough, hard to use. Overall just feels a little bit fragile. And now, here he is, next to the SH Figure Arts Michael Keaton Batman. Probably my least favorite one. The cape sucks, height sucks. He just looks very plasticky. The likeness is not that great. Here are all of the different 6 and 7 inch scale Michael Keaton Batman figures that I have. I would say this new one is my favorite. It is awesome. It's got quite a presence to it on the shelf. That cape really makes the figure. And the cowl. I really like the Neca cowl on this larger body. The proportions just look excellent. Here he is, next to Mattel's DC Multiverse, Michael Go, Alfred. Now let's check him out, next to a couple of sort of Michael Keaton 89 homage Batman figures. Here he is next to the Mezco 112 Collective, Sovereign Knight Batman, Onyx Edition. Then, next to a couple of Mattel Keaton homage figures, we have, on the left, DC Universe Classics Wave 10 All Black Batman, and on the right, DC Multiverse Toy Biz Throwback Batman. So overall, this is a fantastic Batman figure. The cape really makes the figure. I love how the Neca cowl proportionally fits great on this 3 Jokers Batman body. I guess it really is far too big, but the cape really makes this figure. It is amazing. 7 bendy wires, huge wingspan. Reminds me of the Arkham games, gliding around, or the Dark Knight trilogy. But this is a Keaton Batman. Face sculpt looks fantastic. A lot of personality to the brow. Good job, Neca. Then we have this 3 Jokers Batman body. The articulation is all intact. The paint job is superb on this guy. Turning this guy from a gray suit to a black suit. No paint chipping. I'm rough with this guy. Moving him, double joints, etc. Everything is fantastic. Now my only couple minor complaints. The fins in the arms seem a little bit too short. And then I do sort of miss the signature Keaton abs that McFarlane delivered. Still, this figure is definitely far superior to the McFarlane version for a lot of reasons, and he's a fantastic piece of my collection. Oh my god, that cape, just look at that thing. It can do so much. I only showed the tip of the iceberg, only started to scratch the surface on what he can do with it. Awesome Batman figure. Huge shout out to my boy PopCultureArt. Much appreciated. This is going to be a great addition to the collection. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.